And I found that early in the market, that medicine is very much relationship driven. The lab team is becoming much more involved in the clinical management of patients because of the targeted therapies and the types of tests that need to be performed. These young kids, as I'll call them, just haven't really had to interview for a job before. And there's so many things that they have to consider.
Welcome to The Growth Switch, the podcast where we explore the strategies, struggles, and breakthroughs of bold business leaders. I'm your host, Jules Fox, growth strategist and lead content creator at Aries Media. I'm here to uncover how today's top brands are scaling, overcoming challenges, and unlocking sustainable success. Now, for those of you just tuning in, Aries Media helps grow successful brands with comprehensive, hands-on support for sales, business development, and performance marketing. Go ahead and drop growth into the comments if you would like to learn how to do that. Now, today we're fortunate enough to have Rich Cornell on the podcast. He's the founder of Sante Consulting, a specialized healthcare recruiting firm with over 17 years of experience placing physicians, scientists, and lab leaders into some of the most advanced diagnostic and pathology roles in the country. He is right at the intersection of precision medicine and genomic innovation. Rich, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Jules.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure to have you on here. All right. So you have a very specialized niche company. How did you get involved in recruiting? What's your backstory?
Yeah, well, I've been recruiting for many, many years, Jules. The last 35 years, to be quite honest. And I kind of fell into it when I got out of college looking for a position. Um, healthcare recruiting was very intriguing to me, where you're really making an impact in communities and healthcare systems by bringing in top talent. So I started out early in my career as a recruiter with a firm in St. Louis, and quickly became one of their superstar recruiters. And what's interesting is it was a specialty-based firm, and the owner of the firm at that time said, "Rich, we want you to be the expert in lab medicine and pathology." And I didn't know anything about, lab medicine or pathology, so I had to learn it. And I picked up the phone. I remember this. I picked up the phone, called the chief resident at St. Louis University at the time, said, "Hey, can I buy you lunch?" And I went down, bought the chief resident lunch, and I spent the entire afternoon there with him. He taught me what pathologists do and what lab medicine is all about. Fell in love with it, and my career took off from there.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. So then you decided, you were working for a company, and you decided to start your own thing with Sante Consulting in 2008.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've started Sante in 2008.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you've been around for a while. What was inspiration like? I mean, obviously, so you were getting good at that. You definitely fell in love with that. What was the market fit that propelled you to start this company?
Yeah. When I realized in my career that, there was something to be said about specialization in recruiting. And a lot of recruiters, they try to be all things to all people and be more of a chameleon when they're recruiting for companies. And, I saw a struggle with pathology groups and hospital systems struggling with their recruitment for their clinical staff in the labs. And it occurred to me that, if you specialize and really become good at what you do and have a firm that's all they do, a boutique firm, will be, become experts in that area. And that's what we've done. We want to be we recruit at the director level and above. So anybody that's looking for not only pathologists, but clinical staff, clinical chemists, microbiologists, genomics, we're their kind of one-stop shop. That said, our clients rely on us as now in focusing with our clients, we've really developed over the years, and I found that early in the market that lab medicine is very much relationship driven. And I liked that a lot.
Yeah. And then there's different types of relationships because you work with, some of these giants like LabCorp and Quest, but you also work with the academic medical centers. Like, what's the biggest difference in how these different organizations approach talent and recruitment?
Yeah, there's quite a big difference between the two.
Yeah.
Academics are much more process driven, methodical in their recruitment. And they're really good at forecasting out when, their senior faculty are going to be retiring, and they can backfill that and get us involved early. Where the larger corporations tend to be more reactive recruitment because of attrition, turnover, those type of things. So their processes aren't as well defined
Hmm.
on the front end.
Yeah. I wonder if that has to do with passion, like with the people who work there of like, we are doing this to make a difference versus we are doing this to make a dollar.
Big difference. Yeah. Yeah. I hate to say it, in the private sector, pathologists can be viewed as just say a commodity
Mhm.
or their clinical staff, and they're much more bottom line driven. Where in the more academic centers, there's a lot more. There's
Yeah. Yeah. Now, sometimes you speak about the rise of genomic diagnostics and precision oncology. Now, how is this changing the profiles of the candidates that you're placing today versus, say, 5, 10 years ago?
Yeah, in precision medicine, first, most people know that the way that cancer is treated and diagnosed today is much different than it was 5 years ago, or even, or 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And here's what's changed. It's the targeted therapies that pharma and oncologists have developed to treat various types of cancers based on one's genomic makeup or composition. And so all of that is tested out of lab medicine.
Mhm.
And so our pathologists are becoming, and our team, the lab team is becoming much more involved in the clinical management of patients because of the targeted therapies and the types of tests that need to be performed to understand what therapies are going to work for certain patients. I'll give you an example of that. So, the way that the targeted therapies have been designed is, not everything is, it's not, let me back up.
Mhm.
It's not one-stop shop for oncology treatment any longer. It's much more based on the genomic of the makeup of the individual and how those therapies are going to work based on your genomic profile.
Yeah.
So what that means for pathologists, to answer your question,
Mhm, mhm.
long answer to a short question, is that the profile of the candidates today and the younger generations are much more in tune to that. And so a lot of them have a background also not only in lab medicine, but also genomics, genetics, or molecular.
Yeah. So with these advancements in the diagnostic testing, we're seeing these new skills and subspecialties, right? I mean, which ones of these are some of the most hot in demand across the lab medicine industry right now?
Well, there's a major shortage of physicians nationally. So
Mhm.
everything's in demand. However, pathology, there's a major shortage. Post COVID, we saw a lot of retirements and then volumes increase. So the workloads increased. And so with these retirements, what happened in lab medicine and pathology specifically is a lot of the physicians that were subspecialty trained or grandfathered into certain subspecialties, such as hematopathology and cytopathology, retired. And so the greatest demand for pathologist subspecialization today are heme and cyto. And I
Mhm.
talk about the top five with clients and even our candidates. We talk about our top five NFL draft picks. If you were one of these five,
Yeah.
you're going to be, highly sought after.
Mhm.
And in today's market, those are, heme path, cytopath, GI pathology, gastroenterology pathology, breast GYN or anything in women's health,
Mhm. Mhm.
highly desirable. And then, fifth place would be somewhere, it'd be GU pathology or derm path.
Mhm.
And so we tell candidates if you're any one of those five subspecialties, you're going to be in pretty high demand. Coupled with a lot of them are doing two fellowships or have trained in two fellowships and they're doing something else. Most of them are going into molecular pathology if they choose that.
Mm. Yeah.
To bring those two together because that's where diagnostics is going. That said, in lab medicine, digital pathology is starting to play a very significant role in where the trajectory of pathology and lab medicine is going to be going.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you feel like AI enhanced tools, where some of these clinicians are able to enhance their own abilities? Do you think that's starting to play a role here, or is it not quite there yet?
Uh, it's getting there along with digital pathology.
Mhm.
with AI in medicine, it has to be learned based on diagnostics.
Mhm.
So there are companies like that out there, like Path AI, for instance, that got acquired by Quest, that will once the slide is digitized, you run the AI and it gives you the likelihood of cancer and pulls that out for the cancer cells. But then you still have to have a pathologist confirm it and read it and sign it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No.
it's helping in that way. It's getting there, but it's not quite there yet. It's very expensive for practices in healthcare systems to get that system up and running.
Mhm, mhm.
So there's some cost barriers there.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll probably see that price drop as it becomes more widespread, as the technology becomes cheaper and more effective. And,
Exactly. Yeah. And I look at it similarly to radiology.
hmm
So radiology is light years ahead of where lab medicine is as far as their remote digital capabilities.
hmm
They 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 really figured it out 20 years ago,
hmm
and pathology is still in its infancy
yeah.
of it.
So, focusing back on your company, you've run this niche recruiting firm for a long time. That's no small feat. So what is the key to staying relevant and successful in such a specialized space, especially over time, as we do develop these new tools, as we do develop new niche needs, and as we do develop some of these gaps that you're talking?
Well, Sante's become known as, and I've worked really hard over the years to be the true expert in lab recruiting.
hmm
Whether you're recruiting a PhD, medical director, pathologist, lab C-suite executive. And so I've been able to position myself and the firm as the experts in those areas. And
hmm
the way that I've done that is through proactively seeking out speaking engagements and high profile exposure at trade shows, meetings, conferences. And then we've launched a few years ago our quarterly webinar series targeted to the residents, the pathology residents and fellows that are graduating each year. And it's a free webinar series. We have our first one for the season starting next month because the academic year goes July 1 to June 30, or July 1 to June 30. And so the cycle every year, there's new physicians entering the job market.
hmm
And so we offer a free webinar to them on interviewing coaching skills and how to prepare for the job market and how to interview because these young kids, as I'll call them, just haven't really had to interview for a job before. And there's so many things that they have to consider.
hmm
And then we even take it to one step further. We start talking to them early about and teaching and educating them on what is it going to take to be a physician, a successful physician, and what are the things you need to consider, in understanding the various practice types
Yeah.
and financial considerations. So by being the ones that are educating these people early on in their careers,
hmm
have been able to really position ourselves differently in the marketplace than any other firm and truly become the experts. And the way that I look at it, and this is with any client or candidate, they have their portfolio of experts, right? They have a legal expert, they have an accounting expert, they have a business consultant, they have a reimbursement expert. Well, they sure should have a talent acquisition specialist expert or a recruiting expert. And that's how we work. We want to be in that same wheelhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. So, that comprehensive and holistic approach of starting at the very journey of the timeline with the candidates themselves is pretty brilliant. As far as the companies themselves, like how do you envision growth over the next 12 months?
We're busting at the seams. Growth, really. So it's there's a major shortage of pathologists, and we market organically. We get positions all the time. I've got a great team of recruiters that we've assembled, two of which are physicians, and we're poised over the next 12 months to really be the leader in recruiting pathologists above any other source out there. And
Mm.
so our goal is to capture, 20 to 25% of the market over the next 12 months with the team that we have now.
Oh,
That said, we're going to be moving into the digital side of pathology, which we already have with some of our clients.
Yeah.
So that's an exciting undertaking.
Absolutely. I mean, new opportunities there as well. In addition to what you're already doing well, it's a nice new subset of people you could place there for massive success for those companies.
It is, yeah, and there's great opportunity there. The other aspect that we're going to be launching is a executive search firm,
Hmm.
which is really a subsidiary of Sante Consulting. The executive search firm's going to focus more on the C-suite, chief medical officers, and chair positions. So
Hmm.
your higher level positions.
Yeah. Now, it sounds like you have a number of really fantastic strategies in place, but every company faces, some sort of issue, no matter what that is, especially as they expand, as they try to reach these new companies. If you could just take a magic wand and remove the one roadblock that you see over that next 12-month path, what would that obstacle be that you would just get rid
Tough question. There are a couple. Our biggest roadblock is access to candidates because there is a shortage.
of? Hmm.
We just don't have enough physicians. We just don't have enough doctors to fill our positions. So
Yeah.
that's one of our biggest hurdles and challenges. That's where most of our resources go into, is developing those relationships. The second thing would be how we develop and discover and keep in front of the learning curve of digital pathology, because that's coming quickly and we are trying to get ahead of it, but it's a slippery slope because of reimbursement and model and those type of things. So
Yeah.
those are some of our two biggest challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are overcomable. Everything is figure outable.
It is, yeah, and we have an amazing team, very smart people, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, how can people best connect with you? How can the viewers and the listeners of this podcast best find you, connect with you, and get access to this amazing niche talent?
So they can email me directly, rcornell@santelc.com. We also have a major presence on LinkedIn, Sante Consulting. They can also visit our website at www.santellc.com. There's a client portal and also a candidate portal where they can view our jobs, they can submit their CV, etc. And lastly, we do have an X account that we push a lot of information through.
Great.
If they get on our mailing list through one of the socials channels, we send out a lot of emails about our hot jobs, upcoming webinars that we're doing, etc.
Yeah. And all of those links are going to be right below in the show notes. So if you're a candidate, if you're one of those rare candidates and you are in demand, you're going to find access to great job opportunities if you look down below, join that mailing list.
And then, Jules, lastly,
Yeah.
they can call us, and it's a simple number. It's 833 Lab Jobs, LABJOBS.
That is a great number. You guys really got a great, easy to remember number there.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
super cool. Yeah, again, so all those links are going to be right down below if you want to connect. If you're a company who's looking for this niche talent, you can find them down below. You can connect with Sante. Yeah, Rich, thank you so much for joining the podcast. I really appreciate your insight.
Certainly. Thank you, Jules.
Yeah, for sure.